Columbina is finally coming next week, and with version 6.3 almost here, it's time to do the one count that actually matters. In this video, I'm breaking down exactly how many free pulls you can get in the first phase of 6.3, specifically for Columbina's banner. By the end of this video, you'll know the real number of event pulls you can expect if you're free to play, and I'll also show how that number changes if you're using Welkin Moon or the Battle Pass. If you're deciding whether you can reach pity, whether saving is enough, or whether Welkin actually makes a difference here, this breakdown will give you a clear answer before the banner goes live. Columbina's release is finally here. Version 6.3 starts on January 14th, and the first phase runs until February 3rd. That window is important because anything that happens after that simply does not matter for Columbina's banner. So everything here is limited to what happens during those exact dates. Let's start with the most consistent source in the game, something that hasn't changed in years: maintenance compensation. Every major update comes with downtime, and Hoyoverse always sends out Primogems afterward. As usual, that's 600 Primogems straight to your mail. This is one of the most reliable sources in the game because it happens every single patch without exception. From there, we move into daily commissions. These are boring, but they matter. 60 Primogems per day doesn't sound exciting, but over the first phase, which lasts 21 days, that adds up to 1,260 Primogems. This is a baseline income that applies to almost every active player. And it's one of the reasons why first halves always feel more generous than people expect when everything is added together. Next comes story content. Version 6.3 introduces a new Archon quest segment tied to Nod-Krai. Completing that quest gives 590 Primogems directly, and on top of that, it also gives 2 event wishes. Since each wish is worth 160 Primogems, those 2 pulls convert to 320 Primogems. Together, the Archon quest alone contributes 910 Primogems toward Columbina's banner. Story quests like this are always front-loaded into the first half, which is why they're counted here rather than later. Alongside the main quest, there are side quests. These are not daily and they're not time-gated in the same way events are, but if you play through the new content normally, you'll clear most of them during the first phase. Historically, side quests and updates like this give around 400 to 500 Primogems combined. For 6.3, that total sits at roughly 460 Primogems, which fits the usual pattern we've seen in previous region expansions and story patches. Exploration is one of the biggest contributors in this phase. A new area means new chests, puzzles, challenges, teleport unlocks, and exploration milestones. When you add all of that together, the new zone in 6.3 provides around 3,240 Primogems if you actively explore it. This is not something you get in a single sitting, but across the first phase, most active players will clear a large portion of it naturally. This is also why first phases often feel more generous than second phases, because exploration content rarely arrives later. There's also an offering system tied to the new area. This system gives multiple rewards, including standard wishes, but for the purpose of Columbina's banner, only Primogems matter. From the offering system, you get 150 Primogems that can directly convert into event pulls. The standard wishes are real value, but they don't affect limited banners, so they're kept separate. Events are another major piece of the puzzle. During the first phase of 6.3, there are 2 side events that together give 840 Primogems. These are typical event formats, usually involving combat challenges or short gameplay objectives, and the reward amount is very consistent with previous patches. On top of that, there's the Gloomy Onslaught event, which adds another 450 Primogems. Combat events like this have followed the same reward structure for several versions now, so this number lines up perfectly with historical patterns. New Year rewards are where things spike noticeably. Login events during this period give 10 event wishes directly. Converted into Primogems, that's 1,600. On top of that, there's an additional 1,600 Primogems sent via in-game mail as part of the New Year celebration. Combined, that's 3,200 Primogems coming purely from seasonal rewards, all available during the first phase. Midway through the phase, on January 16th, Spiral Abyss resets. If you can fully clear it, that's 800 Primo Gems. This number hasn't changed in a long time, and it remains one of the most skill-dependent sources in the game. It's not guaranteed for everyone, but for players who regularly clear Abyss, it's a stable part of first phase income. At the start of February, still within Columbina's banner window, Imaginarium Theater resets. Completing its milestones gives 1,000 Primo Gems. This mode functions similarly to Spiral Abyss in terms of timing and reward reliability, and its reset landing inside the first phase significantly boosts the total. There are also smaller sources that add up quietly. Promo codes and small web events typically appear around major updates and celebrations. These usually total around 120 Primo Gems, and while they're easy to forget, they're still free pulls. Test runs are another small but guaranteed source. Trying Columbina and Ineffa in their test stages gives 40 Primogems total. It's not much, but it's immediate and available to everyone. Finally, the shop resets during this period. From Stardust, you can buy 5 event wishes. Converted into Primogems, that's 800 Primogems toward limited banners. The standard wishes from the shop are useful, but again, they don't impact Columbina's banner, so only the event wishes are counted here. When you add all of these sources together and convert everything into Primogems first, the total comes out to 13,870 Primogems available during the first phase of version 6.3. Converting that at 160 Primogems per pull gives you 86 event wishes, which is the realistic free-to-play total for Columbina's banner during the first phase. If you're using Welkin Moon, the additional Primogems earned over the same period push the total to around 98 pulls. And if you also include the Battle Pass rewards that apply during this window, that number rises to roughly 102 pulls. If you also include the Battle Pass rewards that apply during this window, that number rises to roughly 106 pulls. What's important to understand here is that almost all of the value in version 6.3 is front-loaded. The second phase does not introduce major exploration, major story quests, or large seasonal rewards. So if you're planning around Columbina specifically, this first phase is where nearly all of your free resources come from. Now I'm curious how this lines up with your plans. Are you already close to pity going into 6.3, or are you relying entirely on what the first phase gives you? And does knowing the exact number change whether you feel comfortable pulling or saving? If you want more breakdowns like this, focusing on real numbers instead of hype, make sure you're subscribed. And with that, I'll leave it here.